to the A.D.H.Deep-Dive, the show that's not about ADHD, but is filled with proof it exists. My name is David J. Mund. We are calling this one David After Dark, because I am currently in my little short shorts, tucked away in a hotel. I am shooting some real estate footage with a man named Chris Vang, who has become a very cool contact for me to have. He's an incredibly talented cinematographer, videographer, artist, filmmaker, who's gotten me a handful of gigs in the creative space. And right now we are out at a lodge in the middle of nowhere in Grayling, Michigan, shooting some real estate footage. We just got here, I don't know, maybe 2 hours ago. We've done some gear prep, gotten stuff set up. In preparation for a long day tomorrow. We're shooting with 10 to 15 resort guests, doing social media type footage. So we're going to get some stuff of them in the hot tub and pulling up to the lounge and using, the common space. And there's a spa out here. There's a big campfire. It's a big social getaway area. And now it's about midnight. I don't know, my phone is currently the thing shooting video for me, but it's about midnight, 1 o'clock-ish in the morning. And I'm just kicking back in the room. And then I remembered that I needed to shoot a podcast today. So this will likely end up being a relatively shorter episode. I just didn't put one out last week, so I thought that it was important that I have a little conversation with y'all. We've got a lot to catch up on. You know what, why don't I get cozy here? I'm gonna just lounge in this little bed here, and we're gonna talk like we're having a little girls night, huh? Just the girls chatting. So yeah, it's been an insanely busy time for me in my life. For the first time in almost my entire freelance career, all of the freelance work that I'm doing right now is actually to somewhat sustain my lifestyle. So I'm able to pay my bills and my rent with the freelance work that I'm doing. And I've been able to squeeze in some Midwest Skies shows, some art that I'm doing for myself. I'm at a sort of surreal point in my life right now where I'm at a bit of a crossroads, right? Where I know that this moment is not likely to last forever. So I'm trying to just capitalize on what I have now to sort of prepare for the future a little bit. I'm in future planning mode, right? As I've discussed many times on this podcast, I have been a lifelong broke individual. We're trying to shift away from that poor mentality, right? I think it was, was it Denzel Washington that said something along the lines of you're not poor, you're broke. No, it was Dave Chappelle, not Denzel Washington. My bad. You're not poor, you're broke. And yeah, for much of my life, including up to, I guess technically this month, I'm broke, but my freelance career is sustaining my life in a way that it never has. And I could turn this into something big. This is the start of something, but as is typical for the freelance career, it ebbs and flows. It comes in waves. Today, you're more busy than you've ever been. Tomorrow, man, you're scratching and clawing for those gigs that you wish you wouldn't have taken for granted when they were overwhelming you. So I'm at a period in my life where I want to be overwhelmed because that means I can live in that moment. So, I've talked many times about this company. I've talked many times about this company that I do freelance editing work for. I've got a lot of those gigs right now. I've got this real estate project right now. I've got a music video project coming up. I think I've got 2 music video projects coming up. I've got a couple of murder mysteries coming up. I've still got the trivia gig that I'm working. see what else is there. What else am I doing right now creatively that's paying the bills? Many other things that I'm forgetting in this moment. But you know what I'm not doing in this moment? Or what I don't need to do in this moment, although I think I probably still will to fill the gap, is those delivery gigs. There's no Shipt. There's no DoorDash. There's no Grubhub. The things that I have been working for, the skills that I have been accumulating to make this career sustainable, are what are paying my bills right now. And again, it's late September going into early October. By November, that could certainly possibly not be the case. And so keep your head down, just work in the now, and try to get ahead a little bit. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm just trying to get ahead. And for the first time, I'm not just busy as hell. Like, I'm busy as hell with work, not just like the building blocks for creating some sort of path to work. This is work. And I can certainly see a future in which this gets exhausting. But right now, like, I'm living in it. And I can like soak in a little bit of pride. I am proud of the fact that the things I have worked so hard to learn and achieve are becoming a sustainable path to financial independence. And that's cool, dude. This is what we've worked for. And on top of that, I'm still finding ways and motivation to, albeit every other week, squeeze in a podcast, squeeze in a Let's Play, make time for shows with my band, which we're going to get to in just a second. Yeah, I'm just proud of where I'm at. Even though I could find a way for that to become overwhelming. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a punk house, it's a punk home. You can find this banner and others like it, as well as this silly goose on the loose hat, these etched mirrors, these custom charm bracelets, and so much more by heading to Cat and Crew, that's KATANDCREW.com, and entering the promo code Monday, that's MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. Katie and Andrew, one of the first supporters of this show, have made a 10% discount available for ADH.Deep-Dive listeners. See store for details, of course, but they've got so many cool punk home products, decor. You don't have to be a punk. That's okay. That's all right. Tattoos for your home, koozies, wall banners, a hot sauce. Oh my God, keep your eyes peeled for that. So again, if you want this is not a punk house, this is a punk home banner. If you want this silly goose on a loose hat, if you want etched mirrors, if you want custom charm bracelets, so much more, go to Cat and Crew, KATANDCREW.com, enter the promo code Monday, that's MUNDAY, for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you very much to Katie and Andrew for sponsoring the show. Let's get back to the podcast. Proud of where I'm at, sure. Where I'm at right now, again, is at a lodge in the middle of nowhere. I was unpacking all my gear, putting all my camera stuff on the chargers, getting everything plugged in, set up so that I can get up early in the morning and start shooting. And I realized that I packed my socks and underwear, but that's about it. I didn't pack my shirts. I didn't pack backup jeans. I've got one pair of pants and a pullover fleece sweater. It's supposed to be 75, 80 degrees tomorrow. That sweater's not going to cut it. Which means as soon as this podcast wraps, I'm going to take this shirt off, not sleep in a shirt tonight, so that this can remain somewhat clean, the shirt that I wore today, and then likely have to swap out the fleece for the shirt that I'm wearing right now. Unless I find time, there's a Goodwill about 8 to 10 minutes away. And if it comes down to it and there is actually time, I may see if Chris is willing to escort me to the Goodwill. Otherwise, I'm going to need to find some sort of grocery delivery around here that would deliver and order a shirt through the grocery delivery, which is going to be wildly expensive for one single shirt. So hopefully I can go to the Goodwill and just buy some sort of t-shirt. But even still, then conceptually, t-shirts are not washed. before they get dropped off at Goodwill or before they are sold from the Goodwill. Ugh. I just feel I feel shame. All that pride washed down the drain. Oh man, I still got to shower tonight too. That's definitely something crucial. The show is not about ADHD, but is filled with proof it exists. Anyways, let's talk about Midwest skies. So last weekend was supposed to be our weekender. We were going to do Detroit Friday night, Bowling Green, Ohio Saturday night, and then my hometown of Cadillac Sunday. Initially, that Friday night show fell through. Well, no, let me back up. We were supposed to headline in Bay City on Friday night, then do Bowling Green, then do Cadillac. And for reasons outside of our control, in a very frustrating turn of events, turns out the venue we were supposed to play at double booked, and the promoter booker was not able to get us another location. That was going to be our first headlining gig in Bay City. I think that we're building a really decent audience in Bay City, one that I think I'm very proud of. And that would have been kind of our first opportunity to be like, here we go. This is not just a show that Midwest Skies is on, but this is our show. And then about a week and a half before the weekender, that fell through. And shout out to my friends in Cat and Crew, Katie and Andrew. They helped us find a show to fill that gap in Detroit. And about a week before the show, that show fell through. Now, we were just supposed to open up the show. It was just supposed to be some side stage at a DIY festival. But again, for reasons outside of our control, albeit frustrating, that show fell through as well. And then I scratched and clawed and pulled and poked and prodded and called and emailed and messaged every fucking venue in the Detroit area. That's not true. A lot of venues in the Detroit area to try and put something together because, man, I still have not had the opportunity to have a weekend tour with the guys. And we're still planning on getting a van. And in the future, we're going to do like actual week-long tours, at the most, maybe some 2-week tours. But I still have not had that like inaugural experience of Friday night, play a show, Saturday night, play a show, Sunday night, play a show, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. I have not had that experience. I think I've had a couple opportunities where we've played 2 shows back to back, but not like this. And I was really looking forward to that opportunity as a musician to be able to say that I did that. And while I recognize that that moment is coming, I'm sure it will. It has not happened yet. But we get out to Bowling Green, who we love. We've grown to love the people in Bowling Green. It was one of those weird opportunities as a musician, which if there's any musicians listening, maybe you'll understand this concept, where we were billed as the headliner, as in our name was at the top of the flyer. I'm so sorry. I'm very tired. It's very late. Where we were billed as the headliner, but instead of headlining, we just played last, which technically that's what that means, but it did not work out to have that sort of feeling. Basically, headliner, that's who everybody's there to see. You've come to see this band who is headlining. And we just played last is all that meant. People didn't come out to see Midwest Skies because I feel like we make good music and we put on a good show, but, people in Bowling Green, Ohio don't know us very well. A handful of people do out there. Anyways, I'm burying the lead. We didn't play to that many people, which is fine. I think when the show started, there was maybe 50-ish people at the start. They were there for the opening band. A very shoegazy, young crowd. And then by the end, I mean, we were playing to mostly the other bands and a few people who stuck around. God love you. We do appreciate you very much. Yeah, it just wasn't, it wasn't what we hoped it would be for a 3.5 hour drive, almost 4 hour drive. But I did get my inaugural Waffle House experience. I've never been to a Waffle House. And when we left there, we went to a Waffle House at like 1 a.m. So get back 4:30-ish in the morning, 5-ish in the morning, leave everything in the trailer. And then we were to head to Cadillac the next day, where we were just going to play a house show. So house shows, while the energy is usually top notch, because people are like, it's a very like friendly, the friends are there to throw down, have some drinks. Nobody had to pay a ticket to get in. Oftentimes the turnout's not crazy, and you're not like expecting to turn too many heads. And so when we were coming back from Bowling Green, it was kind of like, man, what a bummer. A lot of this would have felt worth it if we would have also, if we would have been able to like bill this as something, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something just worth like advertising in a big way. Like, this is the Midwest Guys Weekender. And so we were like, damn, it sucks that tomorrow's just going to be a house show. But let me tell you, kind of as a spoiler, it turned out to be so much more than just a house show. It became one of the shows I might have had more fun at this show than most of the shows that I've played with Midwest Guys. Certainly not all of them, but it's close. And that it isn't even relevant to the turnout. Like, turnout wasn't crazy. Again, it's a situation where we play to the bands and their girlfriends and the dude who owns the spot, and then a handful of people who came out to see live music. But after a few drinks and getting to know people who, I knew a handful of people because, again, this is essentially my hometown. I knew some of the people in the bands. I knew some of the people in the crowd, but I didn't know everybody, but I knew some people. And James and Kyle not knowing anybody because they're not from the area. Like, we had the opportunity to play to people who have never seen us, never heard us, don't have any preconceived notions of who we are as a band. And I think we fucking nailed it. Like, that was one of the most high energy performances I've ever seen out of Kyle. James put on a great show. I think, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I think I fucking nailed it on the drums. I felt kind of bad. The dude who, basically, so there was 3 bands. There was Burn the Ships, us, Midwest Guys, and a band called In the Hands of the Ocean. Burn the Ships and In the Hands of the Ocean are both Cadillac local bands, relatively new bands, but all full of like very talented musicians who have been playing music for a while. They haven't like been in like bands or like toured around much. Some of them have. But new bands in a small town in northern Michigan where there's not a whole lot of opportunity to play live shows. But anyways, the dude who played drums for the first band was the singer of the last band. So he was in both bands. And he had like a 12-piece drum set. And he was like, so if you want to just use my drums, I could just leave them up there. And I was like, oh, well, I brought my drums if you want me to use them. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I was like, are you sure? Like, I beat the shit out of drums. And usually drummers, like if there's a show like that, a drummer will backline drums, which means they'll have the toms and the bass drum and the cymbal stands set up. You usually bring your own cymbals and your own snare drum. Those are called the breakables because they're the more expensive things. And if I beat the shit out of them and they break, that's on me, but you still have the kit. So Anyways, I brought my cymbals, brought my snare drums, brought all my drums. And he was like, yeah, don't even worry about it. Just play my cymbals and my snare drum, which sounded fantastic. They were really, really good drums. But yeah, it was like, are you sure, dude? Like, again, I beat the shit out of drums. I'm a heavy-handed hitter. And, you know, I play with a lot of energy. So I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for breaking anything. And he's like, well, if it breaks, it breaks. I'm like, okay, great. I got about halfway through the set of what I thought was a fucking killer performance. And I see him like wincing and cringing. And I'm like, oh no, he's regretting this. And then at the end, I come up, give him a little dap. He's like, yeah, good show. Like, you're a good drummer. I was like, I'm sorry I beat the shit out of your drums, dude. And he goes, yeah, I kind of started to regret that halfway through your set. I'm sorry. I did warn you. He wasn't mad at me. And none of his stuff broke, but it definitely like weakens it. Yeah, I beat the shit out of those drums, dude. But we put on a great show. We sold a good amount of merch. I think that was a good thing. Those last two shows, we sold a decent amount of merch. And, you know, most merch purchases pay for more merch. But, you know, if you throw a little bit of extra cost on top of it, you're able to like funnel that money back into the band. And that goes into our van fund. Because right now we're just saving up for a van. I think the plan is we're taking January, February, and March off of live shows just to do some writing, because we've only released 3 songs in the last 3 years that I've been in the band. We do 1 song a year, and while it's great, it allows me to love the song when it comes out, because it's such a rare opportunity that we get to do it. I mean, you join a band to write music and play live, and we're playing live a lot, but we're not writing that much music. And I've talked about this many times on the podcast. There's a long storied history and discography to Midwest Skies, of which is fine and I like it. There's a few albums that like I really dig and I love playing. Some of the stuff that I wanted to play live, we're playing live. The stuff I didn't want to play live, we're not playing live, but the reason I didn't want to play it is because it's not like my cup of tea. That's not to say anything about their songwriting abilities back then or who they were as a band back then. It's just stuff that was written in the time of 2009 that, like, you know, was good at the time and just didn't hold up. So much music is that. It's just music that doesn't hold up. And then the things that you know are like the singles. So, you know, on that Killers record, you know, Mr. Brightside and When We Were Young. Or When You Were Young. What else do you know? If you're a Killers fan, don't answer that. But I'm just saying, you know the singles. The rest of the stuff, while is certainly fine, doesn't hold up as well. It doesn't hold the nostalgic weight of all the ones that blew up. And having been in this band, after having been a fan, only releasing 3 songs is fine, but I don't want that to be the norm going forward. So we're going to take January, February, and March off of shows just to write and record, so that when we get the van, we can just tour that shit. And we've been talking about a van for a long time. It just has not been the right time yet, because if we're just bouncing around the state of Michigan to like build up the band fund, we don't need a van. But when we start doing shows in like Pittsburgh and New York and more stuff in Ohio, and if we go down to Nashville or we do some stuff in South Carolina, or North Carolina. I mean, we'll go, I would like to go wherever. Maybe we'll do some stuff up in Ohio or in, what's that country? Canada. Yeah. Just the time for the van has not been right. We're very close. The band fund is ready to buy a van, which would be nice to have a little bit of extra padding, get the van that's right for us at the right time, be able to put in a little bit of maintenance work on it to like soup it up, deck it out so we can like sleep in there, and we'll still pull the trailer with the gear. But yeah, we're very close. But going forward, I think for 2025, we only have 2 shows left. Unless we pick up a random other one, which is possible, but I don't know. Both of which are in December. So right now we don't have anything in October or November. December 6th, we are playing in Bay City. We're not headlining this one, but we're playing with our friends again, Doogie and Bring Your Best. That ends up being like a fun annual tradition to play with those guys, because like those are the bands, Kyle came from that area. Bring Your Best is a local band, and so is Doogie. Local-ish. So it's like, the local bands playing the scene. And it's like friends. If being in a band is about writing, recording, and playing live, the other thing is like you get to make friends. And this is very much like friends playing together. And that's a cool community aspect. There are internal politics about being in a band, and geopolitics about competing with other bands in other markets, none of which are really worth discussing in this moment, but they exist, and maybe we'll discuss that another day. I'm just not ready to burn any bridges in this moment. But yeah, playing shows with your friends in a supportive environment, with music you wrote and care about and love and place value in, and then to see groups of people sing that music back at you, that's cool. Like that would I love to be the biggest band in the world making music and making a ton of money off of said music? Definitely I would love that. But that means also sacrificing a few other things, sacrificing relationships, sacrificing free time, sacrificing other career goals and ambitions and aspirations and hobbies, and the sense of privacy, right? Like you want to be famous, but you don't really want to be famous. I think Emma has said as much to me, that she doesn't want to be famous, but she wants to be like successful enough in a particular industry that she wants to be niche famous, I think is the way that she put it. Have niche fame where, you can meet and interact with people who love and appreciate your work, but you're not being like bombarded by paparazzi, which doesn't sound too bad. There's still a semblance of privacy. Anyways, the more important thing, while December 6th is definitely an important show to us, this is the big one. And I'm gonna even switch positions here. I'm gonna kick my legs up behind me, and I'm gonna talk face to face with you, girl to girl. Okay? All right. December 12th. Midwest Skies is, for the first time ever, headlining the Pyramid Scheme in Grand Rapids. December 12th. This is a 500 capacity room, 500 to 600 capacity room. I would love to, at a bare minimum, get 200 people in the door. That's a big ask, right? So what we're doing is we're billing it as our annual ugly sweater party. Wear your ugliest sweater. There will be prizes, a swag bag perhaps, maybe some gifts from the Pyramid Scheme itself. I can't guarantee the Pyramid Scheme stuff because I don't work for the Pyramid Scheme. All I can tell you is that we're going to pick somebody with the ugliest sweater and give them some swag. But it's going to be On Vacation, Years Later, and Hexing. 3 of the best punk adjacent bands in Grand Rapids, in my opinion. Wildly talented dudes that I kind of can't believe we're headlining. We're headlining because technically it is our show. We do this annual, call it a Christmas show, but it's not really a Christmas show. We're going to deck it out Christmas themed, but it's an ugly sweater party. December 12th. We did this every year at Turnstiles in Grand Rapids, but recently that venue closed. And so we were like shopping around ideas like, do we not do that this year? Do we try to find a different city to do it in? Where would we do it? And we made the pitch to the Pyramid Scheme, like, hey, just so you know, like, we're thinking about doing this, whatever. And they were down. So we want to go all out with the advertising. So I'm going to be annoying you about this in the future. I reached out to friend of the show, George Despotis at The Big Bad George, to do the flyer artwork for this. And he fucking crushed it. I can't remember what the inspiration artwork is called. I want to say it's like Satan devours his son or something like that. I don't think that's actually what it's called, but yeah, it could be. It's a very famous artwork it's a very famous piece of art. Anyways, the flyer was loosely inspired by that. And it is Krampus in an ugly sweater devouring an individual with drumsticks in their hand. It could be me. Who knows? George alluded to the fact that it might be me. And then Santa is in the foreground holding the naughty list. And on the naughty list are the names of the bands, which again, On Vacation, Hexing, Years Later, and Midwest Skies. There's a lot riding on this one. You know, talk about internal politics. If we promote the shit out of this show and we say that we are the headliners and we can't get 40 to 50% capacity in there, we're not going to have this opportunity again. At least not for the foreseeable future. And we ain't getting any younger, dude. So, you know, I've got some friends and family who have already said that they're going to come to this. If you've never come to a Midwest Skies show before, I am literally begging you. I say this whenever I'm serious. I'm literally begging you. I think tickets are going to be like $10, $15 maybe. I can confirm on a future episode, but it's not going to be outrageous. Tickets are going to be affordable. And if for whatever reason you want to go, but you can't afford the ticket, please let me know. I want you in the door. And we'll get it figured out. We'll get you in here. But if you've never been to a Midwest Skies show before and you want to come, please come to this one. Wear your ugliest sweater. Tell them Midwest Skies sent you. Stick around for all the bands, not just because every single band deserves your attention, but because we're going last. And let me tell you, again, there are many opportunities where we are billed as the headliner, but really that just means we're playing last. And then the fans stick around for the band that they wanted to see, and then they don't stay any later than that, which I understand it is your right to do. But when I'm playing last, I want you to stick around. So, December 12th, the Pyramid Scheme in Grand Rapids, the Ugly Sweater Party. Call it a Christmas show if you want. It's a party. It is an ugly sweater party. Which, one more time, On Vacation, Hexing, Years Later, and Midwest Skies. It is, I thought it was 1 a.m. when I started rolling. It wasn't. It's 12:30 now. We've been rolling for about a half hour. So I think now is probably a decent enough time to call it. I've got an early morning. And again, I'm going to try to convince Chris to take me to the Goodwill tomorrow. And if I don't, I'm just going to sweat my butt off in a fleece sweater. I forgot all my clothes. I brought socks and underwear. And I've got my toiletries and whatnot. And I've got deodorant. That's the most important thing, is that I've got deodorant, if it comes down to that. But it's going to be a long day out in the sun, in the middle of nowhere, carrying heavy gear, stressed, trying to really nail this part of the career. I can't believe I've done this. I can't believe you've done this. All right. So, yeah, I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. You know, I think it was Tom Hanks said in a writer's round once, just to remember that this too shall pass. You know, and that means for the good and the bad. If you think you're doing poorly, down in the dumps, you think it can't get any worse than this too shall pass, right? You'll get through this. On the opposite side, you think you're tough shit, you think you're doing well, you think nothing can stop you, you're invincible, this too shall pass. And right now, I am just trying to embrace the now. Said on a previous episode many, many months ago, potentially even years ago, because we've been doing this for a while now at this point. My goal for the future is to stay in the now. And right now, it's pretty good. I don't have any backup shirts, but beyond that, it's pretty good. I am content in my band. We're tight. We're having fun. We're putting on great live energy. I'm in a great relationship. My career is doing well. I don't completely and totally hate myself. Small wins, right? Small wins compound into big growth. And I'm growing. So, I think that's where we're going to call it. Okay? So, thank you very much for joining the A.D.H.Deep-Dive, the show that's not about ADHD, but is filled with proof it exists. My name is David J. Mund. I love you, and I will see you next time.